The Demon King has loomed large over the story of the 7 deadly sins for a very long time. He is the father of Meliodas and Zeldris, he is the ruler of the entire demon clan, and his power reaches divine levels. But just as interesting as the Demon King's power are his true thoughts, feelings, and motivations. Why does the Demon King do all of the terrible things that he has done? And why does he treat even his own sons with such condescension and contempt? I am Animac for AnimeUproar, and in this video we are going to take a deep dive into the psyche of the Demon King in order to understand what makes him tick, what motivates him to do the evil things that he has done, and what his psychological profile tells us about what to expect from him in the future. I hope to make this type of video into a series in which I explore the psychology of other mysterious and ominous anime characters. So if that's something that you want to see, the best way to let me know is to like the video and share it with anyone who might be interested. Also to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell, and to show your support down in the comments. Feel free to let me know which other fictional characters and their psychological profiles you would like me to examine in the future. Now, in order to fully understand the mind of the Demon King, I will have to analyze all the available information up to this point, including information from the manga. With that said, this video will contain manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution. If we were to build a criminal profile of the Demon King, we would have to classify him as a highly organized and intelligent offender. As far as we know, he is the oldest known creature in the 7 deadly sins, especially if we take the time he spent in purgatory into consideration. And some of the plans that the Demon King has set in motion took thousands of years to come to fruition. This tells us that the Demon King is extremely cunning, a meticulous planner, and both patient and determined. The Demon King is able to predict the behavior of others and manipulate them using both his intelligence and his incredible magical abilities. We know how powerful the Demon King is. For a long time we've been told that he and the Supreme Deity are the two most powerful creatures in that entire magical world. And we've even seen the Demon King's OP abilities in action. If you want to know more about the Demon King's power, you can check out our video called How Strong is the Demon King? I will link it in the description, so feel free to watch that right after this. But what about the Demon King's psychology? Why does he do the things that he has done? As we have seen, for the Demon King, loyalty is paramount. There is nothing that he hates more than weakness and disloyalty. And as the ruler of the Demon Clan, he cannot understand why anyone would betray the interests of the Demon Clan as a whole because of some personal feelings or connections. The Demon King is even prepared to severely punish his own sons when he believes they are acting out of weakness and disloyalty. And it wouldn't be hard to argue that the curse which the Demon King has placed on his eldest son Meliodas is a fate worse than death. Meliodas was cursed so that he cannot die, and so he must relive the pain of losing the woman he loves over and over again for thousands of years. But this hate that the Demon King feels about the very idea of betrayal actually reveals a lot about his personality. Clearly, the Demon King has serious trust issues. He doesn't trust anyone, and he values power and control above all other things. The reason he values power and control is likely because being completely in control reduces the chances of someone betraying you or stabbing you in the back. We know that in the past the Demon King has been betrayed. First, the original demon betrayed him. The Demon King used a large portion of his own power to create the original demon, and the idea was that the original demon would help the Demon King rule over the tumultuous demon realm more effectively. However, the original demon betrayed the Demon King and attempted to overthrow him. Ultimately, the original demon's rebellion failed, and the Demon King punished him by splitting him up into two different beings and then tasking those beings with training the Demon King's two sons. But there is a lot more to this than merely summarizing the events very briefly as I just did. The Demon King would have been affected psychologically by this betrayal. The original demon, a being that he himself created and a being that he trusted, stabbed the Demon King in the back and nearly overthrew him. This type of traumatic event would definitely make you think twice about trusting someone again, especially when you are the ruler of an entire clan and you possess the kind of power that others would certainly want to take for themselves if they could. And after this came the betrayal of Meliodas, his eldest son and heir to the throne. As the ruler of the Demon Clan, the Demon King has to put the interests of the clan as a whole, or at least what he believes to be the interests of the clan as a whole, ahead of personal interests of individuals. The demons in the other clans, and especially the Goddess Clan, had been at war for a very long time. And as evil as the Demon King appears to us right now, we have to remember that the Goddess Clan teaches its members from a very young age that all demons are impure and vile creatures and that they all need to be exterminated. So, it's not like the goddesses want peace and the Demon King wants to destroy them. The goddesses are a real and serious threat to the very existence of the Demon Clan. The Demon King saw his oldest son Meliodas as his heir. Meliodas was known as a ruthless and loyal demon prince, and he had unrivaled potential. As such, Meliodas was the obvious choice for the next Demon King, the one who would destroy the enemies of the demons before those enemies could destroy them. However, Meliodas ultimately fell in love with Elizabeth, a member of the Goddess Clan, and because he no longer supported the Holy War, he betrayed the Demon Clan and abandoned the Ten Commandments, the elite demon fighting force of which he was a part. It is believed that Meliodas even killed 2 members of the Commandments during his betrayal, and this represents the second time that the Demon King had someone close to him betray him and stab him in the back. First the original demon, a being he created, and then his own son, his heir apparent. It isn't hard to see how these 2 betrayals, and perhaps other betrayals that we don't even know about, would lead the Demon King to having severe trust issues. In fact, the Demon King hates being deceived so much that he destroyed the entire city of Belialwyn together with the Supreme Deity after the 2 of them had been deceived by Merlin. We can assume that because he was deceived and betrayed so many times, including by people closest to him, the Demon King has come to see all emotions, and especially the emotion of love, as a weakness. You can only be betrayed by someone close to you if you allow someone to be close to you in the first place. And so the Demon King likely concluded that being attached to anyone, including his own sons, is a weakness. The Demon King most likely concluded that if he simply lets go of all of his emotions, all personal attachments, and all ideas of trust and love, he could protect himself from ever being betrayed again. This is one of the reasons why the Demon King behaves so ruthlessly, and why he taunts Meliodas and Zeldris about the fact that their love for Elizabeth and Gelda affect their judgment. His loathing for Elizabeth in particular really comes out once he takes possession of Meliodas' body and confronts her face to face. He even says that he will remove her curse just so he can brutally kill her. And this is because for the Demon King, Elizabeth is the very embodiment of his son's weakness and of his son's betrayal. There may also be some other factors at play here. Perhaps the Demon King was also betrayed by a woman at some point, maybe even the Supreme Deity, and that is why he has a special dislike for Elizabeth and for her relationship with Meliodas, but that is all just speculation at this time. But there is one other important factor that we have to consider in order to get a more complete picture of the Demon King's mind. The fact that the Demon King is a king, a ruler, complicates his state of mind and motivations because the duties and responsibilities of a ruler are different than those of an ordinary person. The Demon King is believed to be the first king of the Demon Clan, and assuming that this is indeed the case, at some point the Demon King would have had to have taken control of the chaotic demon realm and bring order to it. He would have had to not only unite the entire demon realm, which is home to some incredibly powerful creatures, but at the same time he would also have had to deal with external threats like potential attacks by the Goddess Clan. So the Demon King isn't only worried about his personal relationships and family ties, he has to also worry about gaining control of the demon realm and crushing all internal threats, while also dealing with serious external threats posed by rival clans. We already know that during this process, the Demon King was betrayed by people he trusted, including the original demon, and so no matter what we think of the Demon King now, we have to assume that he went through a lot of hardship before he got to where he is today, including the types of hardship that an ordinary person who doesn't have responsibility of ruling over others will never have to worry about. Looking at some real-world examples from our own history can help shed light on how the Demon King became who he is today. Qin Shi Huangdi, the first emperor of China, and Tokugawa Ieyasu, the founder of the Tokugawa shogunate in Japan, are good examples of real-world rulers who had to become ruthless in order to bring order to a chaotic realm. China before the rise of the first emperor and Japan before the Tokugawa shogunate were extremely divided realms where smaller warring states and warlords were constantly struggling for supremacy. Violence, suffering, and death were daily occurrences for centuries, and potentially hundreds of thousands of innocent people were killed as a result of the constant warfare, although it is impossible to know the true number of casualties. If you've seen the anime Dororo, then you will have some idea of what Japan was like in the period before the Tokugawa shogunate was formed. The first emperor of China and the founder of the Tokugawa shogunate eventually brought peace to their realms by unifying the warring states and kingdoms into one large realm under a single ruler. But they didn't achieve this through rational arguments or trust and kindness. They succeeded because they ruthlessly destroyed all rival factions and eliminated all potential rivals through the throne. They achieved a noble end, they stopped the wars and the suffering of so many people, but they did it by ruthlessly destroying all of their enemies. And we have to assume that the Demon King had to go through a similar power struggle. The Demon Realm, which we know was chaotic and unruly, was likely subjugated by the Demon King and his forces through some very brutal means, and this power struggle likely played an important role in shaping the Demon King's personality. He knows from experience that you have to be ruthless in order to bring order to chaos. He knows that you might have to face betrayal along the way, even from those closest to you. And he has shaped his personality accordingly. This doesn't mean that we should support or excuse the Demon King's behavior, but all of this does help us understand where he is coming from and how he came to be who he is today. We've all heard the expression, "it's lonely at the top." As the ruler of the Demon Clan, the Demon King is at the top. But with power comes betrayal, and as someone who has been betrayed multiple times, the Demon King appears to be incapable of trusting anyone and is even somewhat paranoid. In recent chapters, we learned that the Demon King has been using the power of the commandments to keep track of all the commandments and their actions and intentions. And of course, we know that the Demon King has been using Hawk and other creatures to spy on Meliodas for a long time. Even the names of some of the Demon King's recently revealed special abilities, the Sighing Sage and the Hermit of Moments, seem to allude to his profound loneliness. And seeing as how much time he has spent in Purgatory, it makes sense that the Demon King would be extremely lonely. Being a ruler who has to be ruthless and who cannot trust anyone, not even those closest to him, would make anyone profoundly lonely. And this loneliness explains why the Demon King doesn't seem capable of empathizing with anyone, why he rejects all emotions as weakness, and why he mocks everyone who doesn't look at the world in the same way that he does. Finally, the Demon King may actually resent his eldest son Meliodas because he may have an inferiority complex in relation to his son. In more recent chapters, we learned that Meliodas has an immense original power, a power so great that he has been afraid to use it, and a power that once activated ensures that Meliodas can no longer remain in the mortal plane for more than one day. The Demon King calls this power the Source of Destruction, and it is possible that the Demon King is also afraid of Meliodas' power and potential. After all, the Demon King is the ruler, the one who brought about order from chaos, at least within the Demon Clan. And I believe that the Demon King fears Meliodas' immense potential to become the Destroyer, the source of destruction that brings an end to the order that the Demon King worked so hard to build. So, while we can all agree that the Demon King is a villain and someone who does bad things to innocent people, it is always important to try to understand a character and where they are coming from, including villains. A good villain isn't evil for the sake of being evil. Something made him the way he is. Something drives him and his actions. When we examine the life of the Demon King, we realize that he had to become ruthless in order to bring order to chaos inside the demon realm. We realize that he faced multiple betrayals by people closest to him, which led him to reject trust and love while making him lonely and paranoid. And we realize that the relationship between the Demon King and Meliodas is a complex one because Meliodas' original power has the potential to destroy everything that the Demon King worked all of his life to build. And I love how all of these factors come together perfectly in the epic showdown between the Demon King and Meliodas in the 7 Deadly Sins manga. I can't wait to see what happens next, and I really hope that you enjoyed this journey inside the mind of the Demon King. I hope that I've been able to shed some light on his personality and motivations, and if this video helped you get a better understanding of the Demon King's character, you can leave a like to let me know, and you can subscribe for more videos like this one. If you want me to make this into a series which explores the mind of other anime characters, you can let me know by sharing this video and giving me suggestions for which characters to cover in the comments down below. If you feel that videos like this one provide value for you and you want to support more, you can check out our Patreon. We recently revamped the whole thing. A big thank you to all of the patrons supporting us right now, including our Pro Hero tier patrons, the one and only Gilgamesh and Keelan, and also our The One tier patrons, the ones who stand above all clans, including Ace 17 FFDP, Lil Lady KD, and Maddie Mac 239. Even donating a single dollar will give you access to our special patron-only Discord, and you will see your name appear in our videos. So please, if you're interested, check us out, link in the description. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, it means a lot to me, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.